We're happy to be joined today by the Trine University Triathlon team, which finished second in the nation in an event over the weekend. We're going to start to my left with Sammy, and I've asked each athlete to kind of introduce themselves. So Sammy, go ahead.
I'm Sammy Weaver, and I'm a biomedical engineering student. I'm a freshman, and I'm also on the track team.
I'm Amira Faulkner. I'm a business administration major. I'm a freshman, and I'm on the cross country and track team too.
My name is Tori Klingsmith. I'm a junior here, and my major is health and physical education with 2 minors, coaching and exercise science.
I'm Allie Smith. My major is elementary and special education, and I'm also on the cross country and track teams.
So this team has had incredible success this year, with Amira finishing second in the country and the team finishing second overall. Sammy, I think to start off with, I'd be interested to know how you ever heard about triathlon or got involved in a sport like this.
Well, the funny thing is I wasn't originally coming to Trine to do triathlon. I got a phone call about 2 weeks before school started, and they were like, "Hey, I see you swim, I see you run. Why don't you try this?" And I was like, well, I did triathlons a couple years ago, so why not? And I just jumped into it.
And once you jumped in, was it something that you started liking right away, or did it take some time?
I really did enjoy it. I liked getting into the biking, and that might be one of my favorite parts of the race, even though I'm a pretty good swimmer and I'm okay on the run right now. But
Amira, you had done triathlons before you came to Trine, right? So how did you get involved with it?
In high school, I always swam and ran cross country, and then I could never give up either. Like I always did both of those. So then we were just like, well, might as well throw in the bike, and I thought it would be a lot simpler, or I thought it sounded pretty easy, but biking is a lot more complicated. So then we just did some over the summer.
What about you, Tori?
Actually, Coach Powell was my professor for one of my classes, and one day I walked in with a 5K shirt on, and he was like, "Oh, do you run?" And I was like, "Once a year for competition, maybe, for like Thanksgiving." And then he was like, next day he came up and he was like, "Do you swim?" And I was like, "In middle school, just for fun." And then he was like, "Have you ever biked?" I was like, "On a mountain bike, yeah, just for fun again." And then he was like, "Have you ever tried a triathlon?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Do you want to?" I was like, "No." And then here I am now. 2 weeks later, I said, "Do you have a bike for me?" If you guys don't know, I'm 4'11", so it was a challenge to find a bike. 2 weeks later, he found a bike, and then I had 2 days to train for my first triathlon, and it's pretty fun.
What about you?
I've been swimming and running basically my whole life, and then so my friends and everyone was just like, "Hey, why not try a triathlon?" So I've done 2 before I came here, and then I originally did come here just for triathlons, and I ended up loving everything else, so.
It worked out really well.
It did, yeah.
Sammy, can you tell our audience what a triathlon is for your level?
So the triathlon, we do sprint triathlons, so it's a 750-meter swim, a 20K bike, and a 5K run. So it really does take somebody with a crazy personality to kind of get into it and do it. So.
What's the toughest event? Is that different for every competitor?
It's definitely different for every competitor. For me, it's the run because I'm so tired by the time I get to it. So that's something I definitely need to work on for the next upcoming season.
So you're telling me that you swam a half a mile, and then you rode a bike 20 kilometers, and then you get to knock out a 5K run.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing that you can do all of that in sequence like that. Plus, you're being pushed by competition. So you want to be going as fast as you possibly can. I mean, Tori, in the middle of one of these races, do you sometimes ask yourself, what am I doing?
Sometimes I do, but then I'm like, oh, the finish line's right there, like I can do it. So.
Well, I think, Amira, in addition to the physical toil, the mental toughness has to be on point, right? A lot of this is a mental game. Can you talk about that?
It's super mental, especially when you're out there. If you're by yourself, too, you gotta like keep going and push yourself to, because you're racing, so you gotta race hard like by yourself.
The part about it that scares me the most is the swimming aspect. Are you swimming across a lake or something like that? I can't even picture it. What is that part like?
It's usually like, so we have like a beach start, so we're all lined up, and then we run in, and then it's like a big. Sometimes it's usually like a square. You just swim out and around.
So you end up where you started. And do they have boats out there? Okay, what if an athlete gets tired or something like that?
Yeah,
How does that work?
They always have people out there watching. Sometimes on like stand-up paddle boards.
Okay.
Or, like they always have someone out there to catch you if you or to get you if you need help.
So you're running these incredible tasks when it comes to mental toughness and physical toughness. You'd have to do an amazing amount of training. Allie, when you think about the training aspect, what's a practice like? Like, do you practice each of the 3 aspects every night at practice? How do you train for a triathlon?
So, I mean, I also ran cross country, so did Amira. So we ran like 4 to 5 days a week, and then we'd bike 3 days a week, swim 2 to 3 days a week. So I mean, a lot of it was just us like biking on our own because they had their practices and then we had cross country. So that took a lot of mental strength kind of just get through that by ourselves.
You know, you picture the football coach or the basketball coach drawing up the plays and watching film and that kind of thing. And this sounds like a sport that a lot of the training you can do on your own and really push yourself that way. Looking from where you started as the season began to where you are now, how did you improve or how did you grow during the course of the season? Tori, what do you think about that?
I definitely have grown, especially running. Coach said this other day. He was like, beginning of the season, I couldn't keep up with him, and now I don't know where he's at in the dust. But
You're leaving Coach Powell in the dust?
So, yeah. And then my swimming is definitely my weakest, but it's gotten a lot better and efficient. And I'm getting out faster and like with the other teammates, which is good because on the bike I can draft with them.
Sammy, this sport's not for everybody. It isn't. But for people watching this who love to compete, there is something here that has to be exhilarating when you master those 3 things and you see your time start to improve and you start to compete. As you get into the season, there has to be an element there that's really exciting and gratifying. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. I think probably the best part of triathlons is finishing them because, I mean, it's the accomplishment. Like, you did 3 really hard sports all in one shot. Like, that is amazing. And if you're a competitor, this is like the perfect sport for you to do because it's a constant competition no matter what part of the race you're in.
Amira, how tough was it to do cross and triathlon at the same time?
It actually worked out really well. Like, training for cross country really helped me with the run part of the triathlon. It was hard, especially in the beginning. It was really overwhelming, like trying to figure out which teams we were with, which days, but I think it worked out really well.
I think when you watch triathlons at the national level, you'll see athletes who are much older than you girls are. I mean, you girls are really young at this. That's one kind of misconception about the sport, right? That you have to be much older to do it. You guys are starting at a really young age and having fun with it. So I think that's something to point out. In your case, you're one of the top Division III athletes in the country at this sport. Did you have any idea when the season started that you'd finish 2nd in the country in triathlon?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea how like collegiate races were and who I would be competing against. I didn't know how well I'd do because I had just done summer races with my sister. So yeah, I had no idea.
So let's talk about the national event. It's in Tempe, Arizona, right, Tori? So is there extra pressure at this event? You've flown all the way out there. Can you talk about that day a little bit?
Well, we went out Thursday, so a couple days before our race, so that was good. When we got there, we got a little practice run in, and it was very hot, about 80 degrees here. So instead of 20, snow on the ground, very dry. The first run, we were like, oh, we need water, because I think we were all like dehydrated a little bit, and it was just really hot. So that was a different environment.
Did you know that Allie would get 5th and that Amira would finish 2nd? Like, do you know during the event that one of your teammates is having a big day?
Usually during the bike, I see Amira killing it, so I'm like, go Amira. But yeah.
Is that your strong suit?
Oh yeah.
So you can make up a lot of time on the bike as far as putting distance between you and the competitors. Have you ever been in a triathlon where you were actually somewhat close to the person during the run at the very end? Like where it came right down to a very close finish?
No, because
So a lot of time you're on your own then, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because the girl who won from North Central, she always passes me in the run, and I knew she was
Had you
coming.
faced her before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had done a race in Virginia with pretty much the same competition, and so I knew she was coming in the run. So yeah, but it wasn't like super close. It wasn't like because that would be embarrassing.
Can you state right now during our broadcast that you will take her out next year?
Well, she's graduating.
Oh, that's too bad.
If she was, I would. Yes. Working on my run. But yes.
So it's off season. Last couple of things here with the women's triathlon team. It's off season now. Sammy, is it sitting on the couch eating donuts at this point? Like, do you get a break, potato chips and TV, or do you still have to go out and train even in the off season?
Definitely not. It's constant training if you want to be good at the sport. So right now I'm on the track team, and that's hopefully going to help me with my running part, and eventually coach will come up with a workout plan where I'll start getting back onto the bike and getting into the swim every couple days. So.
You know, Tori, to have this be the third season of Trine Triathlon and to finish third in the country, or second in the country, that's a huge accomplishment. Like, has that kind of sunk in what you guys have accomplished?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and how many hours we've put in the work, and then finally it came at nationals getting second. So
Let me hear about Coach Powell, Allie. You know, he obviously is a good recruiter. That's part of coaching, right? But
Oh, yeah.
beyond that, what has he brought to your program?
I mean, we wouldn't be here without him, really. He's always so positive, and he's like, I believe in you. Like, every day he tells us that, and it means a lot to have someone tell you that every day. I mean, he's amazing.
Trine Triathlon, second in the country. Amira finished second in the country individually. This is a very talented group of young women, and the future is beyond bright. Thank you all for your time, and enjoy your off season.